Joined by head coach Brian Barnett on IUPUIJags.com. Coach, you're on the wrong side of a 2-1 decision to Cleveland State tonight. Just talk about the overall effort from your guys.
Yeah, the effort is obviously there, but before I get to that, I would be remiss if I didn't say, thanks to the Horizon League for such a first-class welcome in terms of the pregame pomp and circumstance and the exchange of the flags. That was great. And then obviously tremendous credit to the IUPUI external support staff that generated the momentum behind the game to get the crowd out here and support the guys, because I think that when you're at home, those are the types of things that can drive your team out of a position in the game where, to be fair, after we scored the goal, they had a tremendous run of play. They had us pinned into our end, and it looked like there might not be a way out for us. But when you come out in the second half and unfortunately concede the equalizer, but then the momentum of the home crowd gets behind you, that drives your team, that drives your student athletes to be able to respond and start to generate some momentum going back in your direction. So obviously tremendous credit to our student athletes for doing that and responding the way they did. And like you said, it's tremendously unfortunate to be on the wrong side of this result.
Now, really almost a dream scenario to get a goal in the first almost 80 seconds. What was the buildup of that play, and how's the ball end up in the back of the net there?
Yeah, I think we get a restart from almost just inside half field, and we serve the box. And we talk about, restarts or just about execution and getting your role right every single roll of the ball. So every time we serve a ball in the box, we have guys run into specific areas, and when they do that and the service is quality and the execution is there around the board, then we find guys in the right positions. And I think Pedro was able to get on the end of that and tuck it in the back of the net. And it's a great way to start the game. That always scares the life out of me as a coach, because I'm like, wow, look over at Ronnie and say, hey man, there's a lot of soccer left. There's a lot of soccer left. And so obviously we go from there, and here we are on the wrong end of it.
Yeah, now, what did Cleveland State do in the second half to get equal and then ultimately get the winner there late?
Yeah, the getting equal, I think, had an opportunity for them to overload out on our wing backs in particular. They started guys out wide onto them so that they were dealing with people. Then they put somebody onto our center backs as well, so then they were dealing with people. So they overload the strong side of the field and then run an outside back forward into that space, run a flank midfielder in that space. Plus they had some pretty talented attacking players underneath, kind of between our back line and midfield line. They really kind of caused us some problems and kept us under pressure there early in the first half. And they get the equalizer, obviously. And then, the goal at the end of the game is there's a restart, and there's less than a minute left, or just over a minute left on the clock, and they serve it in the box. And unfortunately, I think it skins the wrong way off of one of our defenders' heads and finds its way into the back of the net. And you definitely don't want to lose that way. But again, these are the lessons that we've got to start to learn. It comes down to we made too many critical mistakes in critical areas of the game, and we made two more than they did, and lost on it.
Now, lastly, Michael Buck continues to kind of assert himself in goal. What did you see from his effort tonight between the posts?
The kid made absolutely every single save that he possibly could have, and probably, arguably, when you go back and look at the film, there's probably some saves that he shouldn't have made, right? And that's what you ask from your goalkeepers. You want your goalkeepers to be able to consistently make the saves that they should, and then when called upon, make that big-time save. And I think tonight we'll go back and look at things, and off the top of my head right now, I can for sure say there's two big-time saves from that kid. Maybe there's more, and then everything else he was clean on. The other thing I'm really proud of him for is that he's been battling with the dealing with crosses and dealing with balls into his penalty area, and that's something that you have to be good at in college soccer as a goalkeeper, and he did really well in that area of the game tonight, so he gets a ton of credit for that. And then obviously for coming up huge in some areas to keep us either at 1-0 or at 1-1 over the course of the game there.
All right, thanks for the time, Coach.
Yeah, absolutely.